Here comes Nadia. The villagers used to say her smile could silence drums at a festival, that her laughter could melt the heart of even the coldest man. But no one knew what lived behind those eyes. Envy, sharp and venomous, sat there like a coiled serpent waiting for prey. She was not poor, neither was she hungry, but in her heart another hunger grew, a hunger to have what others had, even if it meant tearing them apart. She was the woman who smiled at your wedding, yet counted your goats in her chest. She was the woman who danced at your baby's naming, yet whispered curses in her pillow at night. And so begins her story, not of beauty, not of joy, but of jealousy that became a knife, slicing through everything she touched. It was during the great harvest festival that a fire of envy first roared. The whole village had gathered. Drums thundered, flutes sang, palm wine spilled like rivers, and there, in the center of it all, stood Nadia's childhood friend, Amina, glowing like the moon. Amina had just been married to a young trader whose wealth was whispered about in the markets. His caravans brought salt, kola nuts, and clothes from distant lands. He built her a compound so wide the walls seemed to kiss the horizon. At the festival, Amina's beauty shone brighter than the torches. Her laughter rose higher than the songs. Nadia clapped. She even led a dance in her friend's honor. But inside, a storm brewed. Why her? She asked herself as she swayed her waist. Why must Amina shine while I stand in her shadow? Did the gods forget me? Or are they mocking me? That night, while others drank and sang till dawn, Nadia lay awake, her pillow wet with sweat and anger. Envy is not loud at first. It creeps like smoke on her closed door. Nadia's days became filled with restless thoughts. Every laugh Amina laughed became an insult. Every new cloth Amina wore felt like a whip across her back. When she cooked for her family, she imagined Amina eating better food. When she looked into her husband's eyes, she saw Amina's husband's world. When she sat alone in the evenings, she bit her lips until they bled, whispering to the moon, "Why her? Why not me?" Soon she stopped greeting people properly. Her body was present, but her mind was trapped in dark spirals. The elders noticed her absence from the women's gatherings. The children said she walked like a ghost. Even her own mother asked, "Nadia, why has your heart become heavier than a stone?" But she never answered. Instead, she began to dream of solutions, the kind that do not come from light, but from shadows. One evening, after the cock had crowed thrice and the moon rose like a pale eye, Nadia wrapped her head with a black scarf and slipped away from the village. She walked past the farmlands, past the stream where children fetched water, and deep into the forest where the air thickened with silence. There, under a crooked tree, stood the hut of Malam Koro, the marabout feared and respected by all. His compound smelled of smoke and strange herbs. Skulls of goats, chickens, and monkeys hung like trophies on his fence. The villagers said even snakes avoided his doorway. Nadia knocked. "Come in." A voice rasped before her hand touched the wood. Inside, Malam Koro sat cross-legged before a fire. His eyes glowed like embers. He looked at Nadia once and said, "Jealousy has eaten you. You want to burn another woman's joy." Her knees weakened. "Yes, Baba," she whispered. "I want her light to dim. I want her husband's wealth to turn to dust. I want her womb to be dry." The marabout smiled, his teeth sharp as if carved from bones. It can be done, but the spirits demand a price. Are you ready to pay? I will pay anything, Nadia said, her voice trembling but firm. And so the pact was sealed. The night of the ritual was thick with silence. Malam Koro led Nadia to a clearing in the forest where the trees bent inward like gossiping elders. He drew symbols in the earth with white chalk, placed a calabash in the center, and lit candles that burnt blue instead of yellow. "Give me a strand of your hair," he said. Nadia obeyed. "Give me a piece of cloth your friend has worn." She pulled it from her wrapper as if she knew. She had stolen it during a visit to Amina's house. The Marabout mixed these with powders, muttering words that rolled like thunder. The fire hissed, the ground shook faintly, and the wind with no source howled through the trees. "Spirits of envy, spirits of reversal, spirits that drink tears," Malam Koro chanted. "Take the joy of Amina, return it to the dust." Nadia's body shook as if snakes coiled around her legs. She felt heat rush through her chest and her eyes blurred with visions. Amina crying, her wealth fading, her laughter silenced. When the ritual ended, Malam Koro turned to her. "It is done. Go home. Wait, you will see her world collapse." Nadia left the forest with trembling steps, her heart pounding not with fear, but with a cruel, wicked satisfaction. But oh, if only she knew, the universe never forgets. The river that carries curses often floats back to the sender. 3 days after the ritual, the village woke to whispers. Amina's youngest child had fallen sick. The boy's laughter, once bright as a bell, turned into coughs that shook his little chest. The healer's herbs had no effect. By the 7th day, Amina's goats were found dead in their pen, eyes rolled wide, tongues stiff. Her husband's caravan returned half empty, robbed on the road by bandits. The villagers shook their heads. Misfortune walked too close to Amina's door. Nadia watched in silence. She greeted Amina with a sweet smile, but inside she rejoiced. "It begins," she thought. Her joy is cracking. At night, she dreamt of Amina's tears. The dreams soothed her like lullabies. But little did she know, dreams born of darkness often become nightmares. The village was not blind. Elders began to murmur. Women whispered at the stream. Misfortune does not strike so suddenly without cause. Did Amina offend the ancestors? Some asked. Or did someone wish her ill? Others replied. Drums of suspicion beat silently in the hearts of the people. Some looked at Nadia with side eyes, for they remembered envy had lived long in her eyes. But Nadia pretended well. She joined the women in consoling Amina. She cooked food and sent it to her. She even carried one of Amina's sick children on her back, humming lullabies. Ah, what a good friend Nadia is, some said, but the wise shook their heads. Sometimes, the hand that pets the goat also sharpens the knife. Nadia wore her marks like a queen. She prayed loudly in gatherings, raised her hands high. She donated yams to the poor, fetched water for the elderly. No one could point a finger at her. She was a picture of virtue, a river clear on the surface, but beneath that surface, crocodiles waited. At night, she returned to Malam Koro. It is working, she whispered, but I want more. I want her finished. The Marabout warned her, do not be greedy. The spirits are already fed. Too much hunger, they turn on you. But Nadia laughed softly. I have waited too long to stop now. She must know misery until the grave. The Marabout only shook his head. Spirits are not servants. They are deaths that never forgive. Then the shadow began to creep. Nadia started hearing whispers in her compound at night. At first, she thought it was the wind, but the whispers called her name. Her dreams changed too. Instead of seeing Amina crying, she saw herself standing in a burning house. She woke drenched in sweat, her chest heavy as if someone sat on it. One evening, as she fetched water at the stream, her reflection in the water smiled back at her, even when she was not smiling. The reflection's eyes glowed red. Terrified, she dropped the calabash and ran. But no one else saw, no one else heard. The curse had turned its face toward her. Misfortune crept into Nadia's own compound like smoke through a thatched roof. First, her youngest child fell ill with the same cough Amina's child had. The boy wasted away day by day, and the healer's herbs turned bitter in his mouth. Next, her husband's farm caught fire, though no torch had been lit. The yam barn turned to ashes. Then, pots in her kitchen began to break by themselves, shattering at midnight with no one touching them. Chickens refused to lay eggs. Goats bleated as if chased by unseen hands. Her neighbors whispered, "Something walks in Nadia's house." And when Nadia sat alone at night, she heard footsteps in her compound, slow, heavy, dragging. But when she rushed outside, no one was there. The very spirits she unleashed had begun their feast, and their first meal was the hand that fed them. By now, the village could not ignore it. Amina's house still suffered, yes, but Nadia's own home became a theater of horror. Children whispered that they saw shadows crawling on her roof at night. Hunters swore they heard cries coming from her compound when the moon was full. The elders called a gathering under the baobab tree. With the talking drum announcing the meeting, they summoned Nadia. "Nadia," they said, "too much darkness surrounds you. You must confess if you know what hand has stirred these misfortunes." But Nadia, trembling inside, lifted her chin proudly. "I am innocent," she said. "Am I God to send sickness and fire? Am I the one who makes chickens refuse to lay?" The villagers exchanged glances. Her tongue was strong, but her eyes flickered with fear. Desperate, Nadia returned to Malam Koro. She found him sitting by a fire, grinding strange herbs. "Malam," she cried, "the spirits are turning against me. They walk in my house. They torment my children. Help me." The marabou looked at her long, then sighed. "I warned you," he said. "You asked for envy to be fed, and envy is a bottomless stomach. It has eaten Amina's joy, and now it eats yours. Reverse it," Nadia begged. "Take it back." But Malam Koro shook his head. Spirits are like arrows. Once loose, they cannot be recalled. They must strike something, and when nothing remains, they turn on the archer. Nadia fell to her knees, but the marabou turned away. "You have sown, now you must harvest." That night, the feast began. Nadia's sick child cried until his voice broke, then fell silent forever. The wail of death rose from her compound, echoing through the village like a broken drum. But it did not end there. As she sat mourning, the fire in her heart suddenly roared without wood, filling the hearth with smoke. Pots flew from shelves and shattered against the wall. Her husband's eyes rolled wide, and he collapsed, trembling like one possessed. And then footsteps, slow, heavy, dragging, the same she had heard before. They entered her hut, though no door opened. "Nadia," whispered a voice from nowhere and everywhere. She screamed, clutching her child's corpse, but the shadow leaned closer, a shape darker than night, and its cold hand brushed her cheek. By dawn, Nadia ran to the elder's compound barefoot, hair undone, eyes wild. "I confess," she cried. "I went to Malam Koro. I begged spirits to destroy Amina. It is. Gasps rose like a storm. Women covered their mouths. Men shook their heads. "You?" they said. "You? Who smiled in her face? You, who brought food to her hut while her children coughed?" Nadia fell to the ground, clawing the earth. Forgive me. But forgiveness was no longer in human hands. The elders sent messengers to summon the shrine priest, for this was beyond mortal judgment. The priest came, clad in white, carrying cowries and kola nuts. He cast them on the ground, and when they landed, all pointed at Nadia. "The spirits claim her," he said. "She is already theirs." The final night came with thunder. Rain poured like the heavens were washing the village clean. In Nadia's compound, the shadows gathered. Neighbors swore they saw her house glow red, as if fire burned inside but no flames emerged. Her screams pierced the storm, long, sharp, then cut short. By morning, her hut stood silent. The door swung open in the wind. Inside, the mats were torn. The walls blackened, but Nadia was gone. No body, no trees. Only a single goat stood in the corner, trembling, its eyes wide with human fear. Some say it was her, transformed as punishment, condemned to wander in animal skin. Others say the spirits dragged her soul to the underworld. But one thing was certain: envy had devoured her completely. From that day, mothers warned their daughters, "Do not let jealousy live in your heart, for the fire you set for another may be the fire that burns your own heart." And in the village, whenever a goat bleated strangely at night, children whispered, "That is Nadia, crying in the dark.